True respect arrives in silence, not through speeches or demands. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius wrote that the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Your inner world shapes the respect you command far more than any words you say. This is not about learning social tricks. It is about building an unshakable character from the inside out, guided by ancient Stoic wisdom. By the end of this, you will possess a clear understanding of 21 subtle habits that project a quietly powerful presence. We will explore how emotional mastery and dignified composure can fundamentally alter how others perceive you. What does your current presence silently communicate to the world around you? A calm demeanor in a crisis instantly commands the room. While others are swept away by panic or frustration, your steady presence becomes an anchor. This is the first habit, unshakable composure, and it is the bedrock of silent authority. The ancient Stoics called this the dichotomy of control. They taught that some things are within our power and some are not. Our opinions, our impulses, our desires, and our aversions are entirely our own. Everything else, from the actions of others to the outcome of events, is not. True strength lies in focusing all your energy on what you can control, which is your judgment and your reaction. The philosopher Epictetus put it plainly. He said, "It is not events that disturb people, but their judgments about those events. When you stop being disturbed by the chaos outside, you project a profound and unspoken strength." Picture a high-pressure work meeting where a project is falling apart. One person starts blaming others, their voice rising in pitch. Another nervously fidgets, feeding the anxiety. Then there is you. You acknowledge the problem without panic. You speak clearly, focusing on solutions within your team's control. You do not get drawn into the emotional storm. Your composure is not indifference. It is a powerful signal that you are governed by reason, not by fear. Think back to a recent stressful moment in your own life. It could have been a difficult conversation or an unexpected setback. How did your reaction shape the situation? Now consider how the dynamic might have shifted if your response had been grounded in that same unshakable calm. This emotional sovereignty does not go unnoticed. It tells everyone around you that here is someone who cannot be easily shaken, a person who owns their inner world completely. When was the last time you felt completely and utterly heard? Not just waited on, but truly listened to, with your words being met with full, undivided attention. That experience is rare and its power is immense. This brings us to the second habit, the art of listening with full presence. This is far more than just staying quiet while someone else talks. It is the practice of attentive listening, where you silence your own internal monologue, setting aside the urge to interrupt or immediately formulate your own response. You are not just waiting for your turn to speak, you are actively seeking to understand the person in front of you. The Stoics viewed this as a fundamental expression of the virtue of justice. They believed we have a duty to see others for who they are and to engage with them fairly. By giving someone your complete attention, you are offering them a profound form of respect. You are acknowledging their inherent worth. Seneca captured this beautifully when he wrote, "I shall listen to the man I am advising with the same attention I would wish him to give to me." He reminds us that we can and should learn from every single person we meet, but only if we are truly open to hearing them. Consider a colleague who comes to you, visibly stressed about a personal problem affecting their work. The common reaction is to jump in with advice to try and fix the situation immediately. But imagine instead you simply listen. You maintain eye contact, you nod, you ask a clarifying question that shows you are following their story. You resist the impulse to share your own similar experience or to offer a quick solution. You create a space for them to feel understood. In that quiet, non-judgmental space, something remarkable happens. The trust between you deepens exponentially. They do not just see you as a problem solver, they see you as a person of depth and integrity. Your silent presence communicates that their thoughts and feelings matter. For your next conversation, make this your practice. Before you speak, focus entirely on understanding the other person. Notice their body language, listen to the tone beneath their words. Observe how they react when they realize they have your complete focus. This simple shift from preparing your reply to receiving their message can transform your relationships and silently command a level of respect that words alone could never achieve. Your eyes are a constant, unspoken broadcast of your inner state. They can reveal anxiety with a flicker, distraction with a wandering glance, or confidence with a steady hold. The third habit is the discipline of a controlled gaze, a subtle but powerful way to convey honesty and engagement without uttering a single word. This is not about staring someone down to assert dominance. It is the Stoic practice of moderation and self-awareness applied to one of our most expressive features. A controlled gaze reflects a mind that is present, focused, and respectful of the shared space between two people. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself to look beneath the surface of things, to strip away the story and see the essence. He wrote, "Penetrate inwards into men's guiding principles, and you will see what judges you are afraid of." This practice of clear perception starts with your own eyes. When you master your gaze, you are demonstrating that you are not easily swept away by superficial impressions or your own internal turbulence. You are choosing to engage with the world as it is. Think of a job interview. One candidate's eyes dart around the room, occasionally landing on the interviewer before quickly shifting away. This unintentionally communicates nervousness or perhaps even a lack of sincerity. Another candidate holds eye contact for a comfortable moment, then naturally breaks it to gesture or think before returning their focus. This steady rhythm communicates confidence, honesty, and a genuine interest in the conversation. It says, "I am here with you, and I am comfortable in my own skin." The goal is a gaze that is both present and respectful, never aggressive or invasive. For the next day, make a quiet observation of your own eye contact habits. In your conversations, notice where your eyes naturally go. Do they stay focused, or do they drift to a phone screen or over the person's shoulder? Does your gaze feel forced and intense, or calm and natural? This simple act of self-awareness can begin to transform a nervous habit into a silent signal of inner discipline and profound respect for the person in front of you. Frantic, jerky movements broadcast a mind at war with itself. Every nervous tap of a finger, every impatient shift in posture, silently tells the world you are not in command of your own body. The fourth habit, an economy of movement, turns this signal on its head. It is the practice of moving with deliberate, purposeful, and unhurried actions. This is not about moving slowly for its own sake, but about ensuring every motion carries weight and intention. It communicates a deep-seated self-control and an assurance that cannot be faked. The Stoics called this acting with purpose, refusing to be a slave to external pressures or the passions of the moment. Your physical calm is a direct reflection of your mental discipline. Epictetus offered a powerful lens for this practice. He advised his students to perform every action as if it were the last action of your life, to do everything with reverence and care. This is not a call to morbid seriousness, but to profound presence. When you pick up a cup, you are fully in the act of picking up the cup. When you walk, you are simply walking, not rushing toward some future moment. Your focus is entirely on the quality of your action, right here and right now. Picture someone walking into an important meeting. One person bursts through the door, their steps quick and uneven, dropping their bag onto a chair with a clatter. Their energy is scattered, and it scatters the attention of everyone in the room. Now picture another person. They enter, pause for a moment to acknowledge the space, and walk to their seat with a measured, calm gait. They place their notebook on the table with a quiet, deliberate motion. Without a single word, they have established a presence of quiet authority. Their movements say, "I am here, I am composed, and I am fully in control of this vessel." This grace under pressure extends to the smallest of actions: how you handle a pen during a negotiation, how you open a door for someone, even how you take a sip of water when all eyes are on you. Each motion is a tiny broadcast of your inner state. For the rest of today, choose one simple, routine task. It could be pouring your morning coffee, tying your shoes, or washing a single dish. Perform this one action with exaggerated slowness and absolute purpose. Pour the water as if it were a sacred ritual. Tie the laces with your full, undivided attention. Notice how this forced deliberation changes your internal rhythm. It grounds you. Then, observe if anyone around you notices the quiet shift in your energy. This is the beginning of building an economy of movement where every action, no matter how small, becomes a silent statement of your self-possession. The body never lies. It is a living map of your inner landscape where every slouch and every straightened spine tells a silent story. This brings us to the fifth habit, the posture of inner fortitude. It is the practice of maintaining an upright, open, and grounded stance, not as a performance for others, but as a physical embodiment of your own self-respect and resilience. This is the Stoic principle of mind-body unity in action. Your external form is not separate from your internal virtue. A strong posture is an outward sign of an inward discipline. The Stoic teacher Musonius Rufus was adamant that physical training was a vital part of philosophy. He taught that just as a lyre must be kept in good condition to produce beautiful music, so must the body, which houses our ruling faculty, be maintained to support a virtuous life. He argued that neglecting the body was to neglect the instrument of the soul. This is not about vanity, but about creating a vessel worthy of a disciplined mind. A body that is trained to stand with strength and poise directly supports a mind trained to stand with principle and clarity. Consider two people entering a crowded social gathering. One walks in with shoulders curled forward, head slightly down, as if trying to occupy less space. Their posture silently asks for permission to be there. The other enters the same room with their spine aligned, shoulders relaxed back, and their gaze level. They do not need to say a word to command a quiet, immediate respect. Their posture states, "I belong here and I am comfortable in my own presence." This grounded authority is not arrogance. It is a simple, physical declaration of self-possession. Notice how you feel the next time you consciously pull your shoulders back and lift your chest. There is an immediate, almost chemical, shift in your confidence. Your breath deepens, your voice finds a more resonant tone. The world literally looks different from a higher vantage point. For the rest of the day, set a simple intention. At 3 completely random moments, perhaps when you hear a specific sound or glance at the clock, perform a quick posture check. Is your spine stacked? Are your shoulders slumped? Gently correct your alignment, not with strain but with a quiet awareness. Observe the subtle shift in your mood and in the way people interact with you. This small, repeated act of physical self-respect begins to rewrite the story you tell the world without ever speaking a word. What piece of your power do you give away every time you react on instinct? The world is designed for instant reaction, for the quick retort and the immediate emotional flare. But this sixth habit, the silence of non-reactivity, reclaims that power. It is the conscious choice to create a gap between what happens to you and how you choose to respond. This is not passive or weak, it is a profound act of self-command. The Stoics called this the discipline of withholding assent. Your first impression of an event, that initial jolt of anger or spike of fear, is automatic. But your assent, your agreement to that impression and the subsequent action you take, is entirely within your control. You can choose not to agree with the initial story your mind instantly creates. In that pause between the trigger and your response lies your ultimate freedom. Seneca, writing on the destructive nature of anger, offered timeless advice. He said, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay. Do not attempt to quell it at once, for its first impulses are fierce. They will reject your counsel. Give it a little time to settle, and then it will obey your commands." Your most powerful move is often no immediate move at all. Imagine you are in a team meeting and a colleague publicly blames you for a mistake in a project. The immediate, raw impulse is to defend yourself, to fire back with a counter-accusation, to let your face flush with heat. This is the natural reaction, and it turns the meeting into a battlefield. Now imagine the alternative. You receive the criticism. You feel the internal surge, but you do not speak. You simply let the words hang in the air for a few moments, your expression neutral, your body still. You might even nod slowly to acknowledge you have heard them. This silent pause is profoundly disarming. It robs the aggressor of the emotional reaction they expected. It signals that you are not so easily thrown off balance, that your value is not determined by their opinion. In that quiet space, you reclaim the authority to craft a thoughtful, reasoned response later, one that addresses the issue without escalating the conflict. Your silence becomes a shield and a statement of immense inner strength. Tomorrow, make this your personal experiment. Commit to a 3-second pause before you respond to anything that triggers a strong feeling in you. A critical email, a frustrating comment, a piece of bad news. In those 3 seconds of deliberate silence, breathe. Remind yourself that your reaction is a choice. You are not a puppet whose strings are pulled by every external event. You are the one who holds the strings, deciding when and how to move. True character is forged in the solitude of your own choices. The Stoics held that your integrity is measured entirely by what you are willing to do and to be when you are certain no one will ever know. This 7th habit is the consistency of character, the unwavering commitment to being the same person in the dark as you are in the light. It is this wholeness that earns the deepest, most unshakable form of trust. The philosophy demands we live in accordance with nature and virtue, which is an internal compass that points the same direction no matter who is watching. It means your principles are not a costume you put on for an audience, they are your skin. Marcus Aurelius dedicated himself to this ideal in his private writings, urging himself, "Let the God that is in you be the governor of a living creature that is brave and mature and devoted to justice." He spoke of being a single, unified self, not a collection of fragments that change with the company or the circumstance. He warned against the internal division that occurs when you act one way in public and another in private, for this is how you lose respect for yourself and ultimately how you lose the respect of others. Consider a leader who speaks passionately in the boardroom about the importance of work-life balance and family values. Their public persona is built on this foundation. Now, if that same leader is discovered to be sending frantic emails to their team at 3 in the morning, demanding immediate revisions on non-urgent matters, the disconnect is glaring. Their private actions betray their public words. The trust they work to build evaporates instantly. In contrast, a leader whose actions are perfectly aligned, who leaves the office to attend their child's recital just as they encourage their employees to do, commands a respect that is beyond question. Their character is consistent, and therefore it is reliable. It is a rock others can build upon. Now turn that lens inward for a moment. Is there one small, seemingly insignificant area where your private and public actions do not quite align? Perhaps you preach punctuality but are consistently 5 minutes late when meeting a friend you know will not mind. Maybe you advocate for healthy living but secretly indulge in habits you would never admit to publicly. Choose just one of these subtle divides. For the next week, make a conscious effort to bring that private action into perfect alignment with your public values. Notice the quiet sense of self-respect that grows when you close that gap. It is in these small, unobserved acts of integrity that a truly formidable character is silently built. A silent nod can feel like a quiet sunrise of validation, making someone feel truly seen. This 8th habit is the generosity of acknowledgement, a practice of using the smallest, most understated gestures to recognize the presence and contributions of others. It is a non-verbal language of respect that costs you nothing, yet its value to the recipient is immeasurable. This is a direct application of the Stoic virtue of justice, which reminds us of our shared humanity and our duty to treat every person with inherent dignity. The Stoic philosopher Hierocles illustrated this with his beautiful concept of circles of concern. He said we should imagine ourselves at the center of a series of concentric circles. The first circle contains our own mind, the next our immediate family, then extended family, local community, and outward to all of humanity. Our task, he taught, is to continually draw those outer circles inward, to treat the stranger as a neighbor and the neighbor as family. A simple, acknowledging gesture is a powerful way to pull someone from an outer circle closer to your own. It is a quiet declaration that they matter. Picture a team brainstorming session. One of the quieter members tentatively offers an idea. Instead of immediately responding with words, the team leader gives a slow, deliberate nod while maintaining eye contact. That single, silent gesture does several things at once. It signals, "I hear you." It validates the courage it took to speak up. It makes that person feel like a valued part of the whole. The idea has been acknowledged before it has even been debated. Or consider walking through your office or neighborhood and catching the eye of someone you only know in passing. Instead of looking away, you offer a slight, genuine smile. It is a micro-interaction that lasts less than a second, but it communicates a world of respect. It says, "I recognize your existence and I affirm it with goodwill." These gestures build bridges of trust in the spaces between our words. For the remainder of your day, make this your silent mission. Choose one person, anyone at all, and consciously acknowledge them with a simple, non-verbal cue. It could be a nod of thanks to the barista who hands you your coffee, a warm smile to a security guard, or a simple gesture of understanding to a colleague during a meeting. Do not expect anything in return. Just offer the gesture and then quietly observe the subtle shift in the connection between you. This is the quiet power of pulling a circle closer, of silently affirming the worth of another human being. Every creature understands the silent language of territory. A wolf stands its ground, a cat arches its back, and a person instinctively leans back when a stranger stands too close. This 9th habit is the mastery of personal space, the subtle art of occupying your rightful territory without encroaching on another's. It is a non-verbal declaration that communicates both self-respect and respect for others in a single, balanced posture. The Stoics called this living in accordance with nature or performing what is appropriate. For them, an appropriate action was one guided by reason and aligned with our essential humanity. Taking the right amount of space is not arrogance, it is acting in accordance with your nature as a social being who deserves a place in the world, while also honoring that same right in everyone you meet. Epictetus drew a clear line in the sand regarding boundaries. He stated, "What is mine and what is not mine? What is mine is my faculty of choice, my judgments, my desires. What is not mine is your body, your reputation, your property." This profound distinction applies directly to the physical space between us. Your personal sphere is an extension of yourself, and to violate it without cause is to disregard this fundamental Stoic principle. Conversely, to shrink from your own space is to dishonor what is rightfully yours to occupy. Picture a networking event. One individual moves through the crowd like a ship cutting through waves, standing so close that others must subtly step back. Their presence feels like an imposition, a silent demand that communicates a lack of regard for the comfort of others. Now observe another person. They approach a group and stop at a comfortable distance, neither hovering at the periphery nor forcing their way into the center. They stand with a quiet assurance, their posture open but not invasive. Their respectful distance is an unspoken invitation, not a demand. It says, "I respect your boundary and I am confident within my own." This balance is a powerful signal of a mind that understands its place in the world, one that is neither aggressive nor submissive but equitable. For your very next conversation, make a conscious study of the invisible bubble around you and the person you are speaking with. Are you standing so close that they lean back slightly? Are you so far away that you seem disengaged or afraid to connect? Adjust your position, not with a sudden jerk, but with a gentle shift. Find that sweet spot where the space between you feels comfortable and mutual. In that calibrated distance, you will find a silent, profound form of respect that resonates more deeply than any greeting. The line at the coffee shop, the doctor's office, the traffic jam, these are not just inconveniences, they are unplanned examinations of your inner peace. How you occupy these empty moments, the spaces between your appointments, speaks volumes about your self-mastery. This 10th habit is the stillness in waiting, the practice of holding a patient and composed posture even when there is nothing to do but wait. It is in these mundane pauses that you have a profound opportunity to demonstrate that your calm is not conditional on a perfect schedule. The Stoics saw time as our most precious, non-renewable resource. They believed that a virtuous life required using every fragment of it wisely, including the moments we are forced to give away. Waiting is not a theft of your time unless you allow it to agitate your soul. Seneca, in his writing on the brevity of life, lamented how people are frugal in guarding their personal property, but as soon as it comes to squandering time, they are most wasteful of the one thing in which it is right to be stingy. To pace, to sigh, to pull out your phone in a frantic search for distraction, this is to squander the moment. It broadcasts a quiet desperation, an inability to be alone with your own thoughts. Patience in the Stoic sense is not passive resignation. It is an active, powerful virtue. It is the conscious choice to accept the current circumstance without internal complaint, to use the pause as a chance to simply be present. Observe two people in a waiting room. One is a storm of subtle motion, constantly shifting in their chair, tapping their foot, refreshing their email for the 10th time. Their entire body screams, "I should be somewhere else." Their agitation is contagious, adding tension to the room. The other sits with a quiet dignity. Their hands are still, their gaze is soft, perhaps taking in the room or simply resting. They are not asleep or checked out, they are fully present, simply accepting the wait. Their stillness radiates a sense of unshakable composure. It tells everyone watching that this person is at home within themselves. that their peace does not depend on external events moving at their preferred speed. Tomorrow, you will inevitably face a line or a delay. Choose one. This is your practice ground. When you find yourself in that queue, make a conscious decision to embody complete physical stillness. Plant your feet firmly, let your arms hang naturally. Resist the urge to reach for your phone as a digital pacifier. For just those 2 minutes or 5 or 10, do nothing but wait. Breathe, observe the internal itch for action, the mental complaint about the wasted time, and simply let it pass without obeying it. Notice how this external stillness begins to calm the internal chatter. In that quiet space, you are not just waiting for something to happen. You are practicing the art of being and silently demonstrating a level of self-control that commands the deepest respect. Your hands reveal a private conversation with the world every time you pick something up or put it down. The 11th habit is the dignity in handling objects, a practice where the care you show for even the most mundane possession reflects the order and reverence within your own mind. This is not about the value of the object itself, but about the quality of your interaction with the physical world. It is a form of active mindfulness, a silent dialogue with your environment that broadcasts your inner state far more accurately than any resume or introduction ever could. The Stoics saw the universe as permeated by a divine reason, a logos that structured all of nature. To handle things with care is to acknowledge this inherent order, to participate in the world with intelligence and justice rather than brute force. Marcus Aurelius meditated on this very idea, advising himself to accept things as they are, and then to deal with them intelligently and justly. He was not just speaking about people or events, but about the physical tools and objects of daily life. Handling a cup, a book, or a door with deliberate care is a small, continuous act of living in accordance with that cosmic reason. It is a practical form of virtue. Now picture two contrasting scenes. In one, a person finishes a meeting, grabs their notebook, and shuts it with a sharp clap before tossing it into their bag. They push their chair back with a screech against the floor and let the door swing shut behind them with a loud bang. Each action is hurried, forceful, almost dismissive. The energy is one of carelessness, of being at war with the physical world. Now, envision another person in the same situation. They close their notebook gently, placing it deliberately into their bag. They rise and carefully slide their chair back into its place without a sound. They take the extra half-second to guide the door closed until the latch clicks softly. There is no performance here, no one is likely to even notice, but the cumulative effect of these gentle actions is a powerful, silent aura of composure and respect. It communicates a mind that is at peace with its surroundings, a person who moves through the world with intention rather than impatience. For your own practice today, choose one routine action you perform without thought. It could be hanging up your coat when you come home, setting down your coffee mug, or closing the car door. For this one action, and just this one, perform it with exaggerated care and deliberation. Feel the weight of the coat as you place it on the hanger. Listen for the quiet sound of the mug meeting the table. Guide the car door until it seals without a shudder. Do not rush. In that single, mindful action, notice the quiet sense of dignity it creates within you. This is the silent power of treating the world around you with respect, and in doing so, reminding yourself of the respect you hold within. Why is receiving a genuine offer of help often so much more difficult than giving it? That internal resistance, that urge to say, "Oh no, I am fine, I can manage," is rarely about the task itself. It is a flare sent up by the ego, a deep-seated fear of appearing weak or incapable. This brings us to the 12th habit, the grace in accepting help, a quiet strength that allows others to contribute to you without pride or embarrassment. To accept help gracefully is not an admission of inadequacy. It is a profound acknowledgement of our shared humanity and interdependence. The Stoics viewed the entire human race as a single community, a body where each part has a function and relies on the others. To refuse a proffered hand is to deny this fundamental truth, to act as if you are an island separate from the whole. It is an act of pride, not of strength. Seneca, in his work on benefits, delves deeply into the beautiful economy of giving and receiving. He wrote that the wise person receives a favor with the same spirit with which it is given. When someone offers you help with a generous heart, to reject it is to reject their goodwill. To accept it with genuine gratitude, however, is to honor their virtue and to affirm the bond between you. You complete the circle of fellowship that they began. Imagine you are working on a complex project and the deadline is looming. You are struggling with a specific technical detail, and a colleague, noticing your frustration, offers to stay late and walk you through it. The ego's immediate whisper is to decline, to prove you can handle it alone, but instead you look at them, set your pride aside and say, "Thank you, I would really appreciate that." You do not make a joke about your own incompetence. You do not immediately list all the ways you will pay them back. You simply receive the offer with the grace with which it was given. In that moment, something shifts, the team bond strengthens, trust deepens. You have silently communicated that you are secure enough to be vulnerable, that you value collective success over individual pride. This week, create a small experiment in humility. The next time someone offers you help, no matter how small, holding a door, carrying a bag, explaining a detail, consciously accept it. Do not downplay your need. Do not immediately promise to return the favor. Simply look them in the eye, offer a genuine smile, and say thank you. Notice the quiet warmth that exchange generates, and observe how it feels to willingly and gracefully become part of the circle. In an age of endless distraction, simply finishing what you start is a radical act of character. This 13th habit, the resolve in finishing, transforms persistence from a concept into a quiet, daily demonstration of your reliability. It is the practice of seeing tasks through to their natural conclusion, no matter how small or tedious, building a reputation for trustworthiness that is earned in the spaces no one else sees. This is not about grand achievements, but the integrity found in the follow-through. The Stoics saw this as a direct expression of the virtue of courage and discipline. To complete our duties is to fulfill our role in the grand design, to play our part in the cosmic order with honor and consistency. Epictetus framed this as our sacred duty, reminding us that just as we must do in life the work of a human being, so we must play our assigned part well. He argued that we are not given our roles to complain about them, but to perform them to the best of our ability, from the first line to the final curtain. Your commitment to finishing is a quiet affirmation that you take your role seriously. Consider two colleagues faced with the same mundane but necessary task, like updating a shared database. One starts with enthusiasm, inputs a few entries, gets bored, and moves on to something more stimulating, leaving the job half-finished. The other, without fanfare, methodically works through the entire list until the final entry is complete. This second person does not announce their progress or seek praise. Their silent action, witnessed by no one, builds a foundation of absolute reliability. When a true crisis emerges, who do you think the team instinctively turns to? It is the one who has proven, through 100 small completions, that their word is solid and their resolve is unshakable. Look around your own life right now. There is likely one small, unfinished task hovering at the edge of your awareness, an email you have been meaning to send, a drawer that needs organizing, a book you promised to return. Choose just one. Before this day ends, make a silent pact with yourself to see it through to completion. Do not tell anyone you are doing it, simply do it. Pay close attention to the quiet sense of integrity that washes over you when it is done. That feeling is the silent architecture of a character that commands respect, built one finished task at a time. Impatience is often just a subtle form of selfishness, a demand that the world conform to your personal timetable. The 14th habit, patience with others' processes, is the antidote. It is the quiet discipline of allowing people the time and space they need to think, speak, or act without your interference. This is a profound gift of respect for their autonomy, a silent acknowledgement that their internal world operates on its own schedule, one you have no right to rush. This practice is a living application of the Stoic reserve clause. You do your part with excellence, you listen, you guide, you provide the opportunity, but you simultaneously accept that the other person's process, their pace of understanding or action, is entirely outside your control. Your patience becomes the space in which their own capability can grow. Marcus Aurelius offered a timeless reminder for this very challenge. He wrote, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. They are like this because they cannot tell good from evil, but I have seen the beauty of good and the ugliness of evil, and have recognized that the wrongdoer has a nature related to my own." He was not being cynical but realistic. Accepting others as they are, as nature made them, is the first step to dealing with them with true patience and without frustration. Consider a parent teaching a young child to tie their shoes. The easy path is to swoop in, tie the laces in 3 seconds, and move on with the day. But the patient path is to sit back, to watch the small fingers fumble with the loops, to offer quiet encouragement without taking over. That few minutes of waiting is not wasted time. It is an investment in the child's confidence and a silent lesson in their own capability. Or picture a manager in a one-on-one meeting. They ask a challenging question and then fall silent, giving their employee a full 30 seconds to gather their thoughts and formulate a genuine answer. They resist the urge to jump in with leading questions or to finish the employee's sentences. That silent, patient space communicates, "Your thoughts are valuable, and I am willing to wait for them." This respect for another's cognitive process builds immense trust and loyalty. For your very next conversation today, make this your private practice. When someone is speaking and there is a pause, do not fill it. When they are searching for a word, do not supply it for them. Simply hold the space with your quiet, undivided attention. Feel the internal urge to hurry things along and consciously choose to let it pass. In that deliberate patience, you are not just waiting for them to catch up. You are silently affirming their right to their own process, and in doing so, you command a respect that no amount of rushing could ever achieve. A predictable life is the bedrock of a formidable presence. This 15th habit, the steadiness of routine, transforms personal discipline into a silent language of reliability. Your daily rituals are the architecture of your character, a visible structure that tells the world you are governed by inner order, not external chaos. This is living in accordance with nature and reason, creating a framework where virtue can flourish and chaotic passions are kept at bay. Seneca saw this structure as the very source of a tranquil mind. He advised that our life should be a measure of order and regularity, for a disordered life is a perpetual torment. He was not praising a rigid, joyless existence, but a conscious design that frees you from the tyranny of whim and impulse. A good routine minimizes the number of decisions you must make about trivialities, preserving your mental energy for what truly matters, for the judgments and actions that define a virtuous life. Think of someone you know who is always 10 minutes early, whose desk is orderly, and whose word is their absolute bond. They do not announce their discipline. It is simply evident in the quiet rhythm of their days. When they say they will have a report on your desk by Tuesday morning, it appears without fail. When they commit to a morning workout, you know they are there, rain or shine. This consistency is not flashy, but over time, it builds a foundation of trust so solid it becomes unshakable. Their routine is a silent promise kept day after day, proving that they are the master of their own time and impulses. Look at one small part of your own morning or evening ritual. Is it haphazard or is it intentional? Perhaps it is how you prepare your first drink of the day or the 5 minutes before you leave the house. For the next week, choose just that one segment and commit to performing it with unwavering consistency, at the same time and in the same manner. Notice how this small act of self-governance begins to radiate a subtle stability into every other part of your life, silently telling everyone that here is a person who has their own house in order. Being late is a small act of disrespect, while being on time is a silent compliment. This 16th habit, the respect for time, transforms the simple act of punctuality into a profound non-verbal statement about your character. It communicates that you value the person you are meeting, that you honor your own word, and that you understand the true weight of a commitment. The Stoics viewed time as our most precious and non-renewable resource, the one thing we can never get back once it is spent. To waste another person's time, then, is not merely an inconvenience, it is a subtle form of injustice. It says, "My minutes are more valuable than yours." Seneca, in his piercing work on the shortness of life, captured this with brutal clarity. He wrote, "People are frugal in guarding their personal property, but as soon as it comes to squandering time, they are most wasteful of the one thing in which it is right to be stingy." When you are late, you are being wasteful with someone else's most finite asset. You are squandering a piece of their life they will never recover. Consider the stark contrast between two colleagues. One consistently arrives 5 minutes early for meetings. They use those moments to settle in, to gather their thoughts, to be fully present and ready to begin. Their punctuality is a quiet drumbeat of reliability. It tells everyone in the room, "You can count on me. I respect this shared endeavor." The other is always rushing in 5 minutes late, flushed and offering breathless apologies. Even if the apologies are accepted, a pattern forms. Their tardiness, however small, becomes a silent whisper of disorder. It suggests that their own disorganization takes priority over the collective time of the group. One builds trust with every early arrival, the other erodes it with every delayed entrance. Your next commitment is your practice ground. Make a conscious decision to be intentionally early, not just on time. Aim to arrive with 10 full minutes to spare. In that quiet space before the meeting begins, do not fill it with your phone. Simply sit with the stillness. Observe the calm authority that comes from not being rushed, from being the prepared, grounded one in the room. Feel the shift in your own presence when you are not battling the clock. This small, deliberate act of respect for time will silently command a level of regard that no eloquent apology could ever achieve. Why is the simple admission of not knowing something so difficult for us to utter? We often scramble for an answer, deflect, or even bluff, driven by a deep-seated fear of appearing incompetent. This 17th habit, the calm in admitting ignorance, turns that fear on its head. It is the quiet confidence to comfortably say, "I do not know," without a trace of shame or the need to invent an answer. This projects a profound intellectual honesty that is far more impressive than any collection of facts. The roots of this practice run deep into Stoic and Socratic soil. Socrates himself declared that the beginning of wisdom is the admission of your own ignorance. A mind that believes it already knows everything is a closed door, but a mind that openly acknowledges its limits is an open window, ready for the light of new understanding to stream in. Epictetus put it with his characteristic bluntness. He said, "It is impossible for a person to begin to learn what he thinks he already knows. When you pretend to have an answer, you are not protecting your reputation. You are building a wall between yourself and the truth. You are choosing the comfort of a lie over the discomfort of growth." Picture a high-level strategy meeting. The CEO turns to a department head and asks for a specific data point on a new market. The room goes quiet. The department head feels a flush of heat, the pressure of every eye upon them. The easy, instinctive path is to offer a vague approximation, a confident-sounding guess. But instead, they take a calm breath, meet the CEO's gaze, and say, "I do not have that figure at hand. I will find out and have it for you by the end of the day." In that moment, they do not look weak, they look incredibly strong. Their honesty builds more trust than any bluffed response ever could. It tells everyone in the room that this person is dedicated to accuracy, not to ego, and that their word can be trusted absolutely. This week, create a small experiment in intellectual humility. In a low-stakes conversation, perhaps with a friend or a colleague, deliberately practice saying those three simple words, "I do not know." Do not follow it with a joke or an excuse. Just let the statement hang in the air with quiet confidence. Pay close attention to the internal feeling that follows. It is not shame, but a clean, clear sense of integrity. That feeling is the silent architecture of a mind committed to truth above all else. We live in an age of constant division, where our attention is pulled in a dozen directions at once. To give your entire focus to the single task in front of you has become a rare and radical act of discipline. This 18th habit, the focus on the task at hand, is a silent declaration of competence and a deep respect for the work itself. It signals a mind that is fully engaged, refusing to be fragmented by the noise of the world. This is the practical embodiment of the Stoic call to live in the present moment, to attend strictly to the business at hand that nature has placed before you. Marcus Aurelius directed himself to concentrate every minute like a Roman, on doing what's in front of you with precise and genuine seriousness, tenderly, willingly, with justice. He was not advising a frantic hustle, but a profound, single-pointed presence, bringing your entire being to the one thing you are doing right now. Imagine a master woodworker shaping a piece of furniture. Their entire world has shrunk to the feel of the wood grain, the sound of the plane, the line they are following. They are not thinking about the next project or checking their phone. Their complete absorption is a silent masterclass in respect for the craft. Or picture a public speaker who, instead of reading stiffly from a screen, speaks directly to the audience, making eye contact, responding to the energy in the room. Their undivided attention commands the undivided attention of everyone present. Their focus communicates that this moment and these people matter entirely. This level of presence is not just for grand stages. It is for the email you are writing, the dish you are washing, the conversation you are having. For the next 30 minutes of your day, choose one single task. Before you begin, silence every possible distraction. Put your phone in another room, close all unnecessary tabs on your computer, and then, for that 1/2 hour block, pour every ounce of your attention into that activity. Do not let your mind wander to the next item on your list. When you notice it drifting, gently guide it back. Observe not just the quality of the work you produce, but the quality of your own presence while you are doing it. That undiluted focus is a silent power few people ever display, and it commands a respect that is both immediate and deep. Authenticity has a quiet signature that never needs to announce itself. The most deeply respected individuals carry themselves with a natural simplicity, utterly free from the compulsion to prove their worth. This 19th habit is the absence of pretense, a conscious rejection of any ostentatious display, whether of wealth, knowledge, or social status. In the Stoic view, such performances are not just vanity, they are a direct source of internal disturbance, tying your sense of self to things that can be taken away in an instant. The philosophy directs us toward a radical indifference to externals, teaching that true worth is forged entirely in the fires of virtue, not in the accumulation of possessions or accolades. Your character is your only lasting possession, and it requires no audience to validate it. The Stoic teacher Musonius Rufus was uncompromising on this point. In his lectures, he argued that luxury is a burden to the soul, not a blessing. He believed that a simple life, free from the relentless pursuit of more, was essential for philosophical clarity and inner freedom. He taught that the body needs little, and that complicating our needs with extravagance only corrupts our judgment and enslaves us to desires we can never fully satisfy. The goal is to live in accordance with nature, which is simple and sufficient, not according to opinion, which is insatiable and chaotic. You can see this principle in action all around you. Picture two people at a social gathering. One arrives adorned with obvious status symbols, their conversation peppered with famous names and subtle mentions of their latest expensive acquisition. They are performing a version of success they desperately hope others will validate. Their energy is one of subtle hunger, a need for external approval that is palpable. Now observe another individual in the same room. They are dressed with simple, understated elegance. They listen more than they speak. When they do contribute, their knowledge is deep and offered humbly, without a trace of one-upmanship. You might later discover this person has achieved truly remarkable things, yet they feel no need to broadcast it. Their quiet modesty is not a lack of confidence, it is the ultimate expression of it. Their worth is so internally secure that it no longer requires any external packaging. This week, turn a gentle gaze inward. Identify just one small area in your own life where you might be performing for an audience, however subtle. It could be the way you talk about your accomplishments, the brand of clothing you feel you need to wear to be taken seriously, or even the way you frame your opinions in a group to sound more authoritative. Choose one of these performances and for the next 7 days make a conscious choice to dial it back. Let your knowledge speak for itself without embellishment. Choose the simpler option over the flashy one. Observe the quiet sense of relief that comes from no longer needing to manage someone else's perception. In that relief, you will find a more authentic and far more commanding confidence beginning to quietly emerge. A silent hand offered before a request is even made speaks a profound language of care. The 20th habit is the readiness to assist, a practice of quiet observation that allows you to anticipate a need and provide subtle, non-intrusive help. This is not about grand gestures or seeking recognition, but about embodying the Stoic virtue of justice in its most practical form, actively working for the common good of your human community. Our duty, as Seneca so powerfully reminded us, is to be of benefit to others. He wrote that a person's worth is determined by their benefit to others, and that we are born for the common good. To see a need and quietly fill it is to live this truth, to measure your own worth by the small, silent comforts you provide. This is empathy translated into unspoken action. Picture a colleague struggling to manage an armful of boxes as they approach a closed door. You are a few steps behind. The easy path is to simply go about your own business, assuming they will manage. But the path of quiet assistance is to quicken your pace just enough to reach the door first, holding it open with a simple nod, allowing them to pass through without breaking stride. No words are exchanged, no favor is logged, or imagine a meeting room where someone has accidentally spilled a few drops of water. Before they can even react, you casually slide a napkin across the table into their space, your attention already returned to the speaker. These tiny, almost invisible acts of aid create an atmosphere of mutual support. They silently communicate that you are part of a collective, that you are watching out for those around you not because you have to, but because it is the right way to be. For the remainder of your day, make this your secret mission. Look for one single, unglamorous opportunity to offer a small, unasked-for act of assistance. It could be clearing a stray coffee cup from a shared table, picking up a fallen item for a stranger, or quietly taking notes for a colleague whose hands are full. Perform the action without any announcement and without expecting a word of thanks. Simply do it and let the act stand on its own. Notice the quiet sense of connection it fosters within you, a feeling that you are actively weaving yourself into the fabric of your community, one silent thread of help at a time. An exit holds as much weight as an entrance, for it is the final impression that lingers long after you are gone. This 21st habit, the poise in parting, is the art of concluding an interaction with deliberate calm and graceful finality. It is the last silent chapter of your presence, and it can define the entire story you have told through your actions. The Stoics saw all of life as a series of cycles, with every beginning containing the seed of its own end. To meet an ending with equanimity is to align yourself with the fundamental nature of the cosmos, accepting the limits of time and interaction without resistance or unnecessary drama. Marcus Aurelius constantly prepared his own mind for this reality, writing that you must accept the end of all things without indignation, for everything that happens is as normal and expected as the rose in spring or the fruit in summer. An ending is not a disruption, it is simply the fulfillment of a natural process. Your graceful acceptance of it is a final, powerful demonstration of your inner peace. Picture a business lunch that has run its course. One person stands up abruptly, their chair scraping loudly, and offers a hurried, distracted farewell as they are already turning to leave, their energy scattered and trailing behind them like a tangled thread. The impression is one of restlessness, of being pulled away to something more important. Now envision a different departure. The same person, as the conversation naturally winds down, offers a concluding thought, stands smoothly, and offers a firm, respectful handshake or a warm, definitive nod. They offer a simple, clear thank you, and then they leave, their energy contained and complete. This is not a cold or abrupt ending. It is a closure that honors the time you have shared and leaves the connection feeling solid and respected. Your very next exit from a room or a conversation is your practice ground. As you prepare to leave, bring your full awareness to the act of parting. Do not let your attention drift to the next task. Offer a clear, sincere sign of closure, whether it is a word, a gesture, or a simple look of acknowledgement. Then turn and go without hesitation or a backward glance. Aim to leave the space feeling calmer and more resolved than when you entered it. In that quiet, decisive closure, you leave behind a resonant echo of your dignity and purpose, a final, unspoken statement that you move through the world with intention from start to finish. These 21 habits are not a collection of disconnected tips, but a single, unified philosophy in action. Each one is a thread in the same tapestry, woven from the principle that true, unspoken respect is the natural byproduct of an unshakable inner character. This is not a performance you put on for the world. It is the outward manifestation of a life built on Stoic virtue, on inner discipline, self-respect, and a mind that has consciously chosen to align itself with nature and reason. Your calm in a crisis, your patient listening, your dignified posture, your quiet integrity when no one is watching, all of it emanates from the same core. You are not learning tricks, you are cultivating a soul that is dyed with the color of its own noble thoughts. The ancient teacher Epictetus offered a final, piercing insight into this truth. He said that character is fate. Your fate, the life you experience and the respect you command, is not written by the stars or by chance. It is forged in the countless small choices that define your character each day. Who you are in the quiet of your own mind ultimately determines how you are perceived in the world. As you move forward from this moment, do not feel pressured to master all 21 habits at once. That is the path to frustration. Instead, ask yourself this simple question: which one or two of these practices resonated with you most deeply? Which one felt like a quiet whisper, pointing toward a part of your own character that is ready to be strengthened? Perhaps it is the resolve to finish what you start, or the grace to accept help, or the simple discipline of a controlled gaze. Choose just one. Carry it with you into your week as a personal practice. Observe the subtle shifts it creates in your inner world and in the silent responses of those around you. If this path of practical Stoic wisdom has been valuable to you, consider subscribing to this channel. We are building a community here, a community dedicated to living with more purpose, resilience, and quiet strength. And to help that community grow, we would be grateful if you would share your own reflection in the comments below. Tell us which one habit resonated with you the most. Your insight might be the very thing that helps another person on their own